This is an excerpt from my memoir, Maha Unshackled. If you're just joining, you might want to start from the beginning, chapter 1 to 11. The airplane hummed quietly. The cabin, dark for the overnight flight from Yemen to Germany, except for the dim light overhead. It was my connecting flight to Frankfurt. A few rows ahead, a group of young Yemeni men whispered to the flight attendant, eyes wide with excitement because they were ordering alcohol, something they couldn't do back home because alcohol is illegal in Yemen. "Whiskey, beer, vodka, whatever you have," one of them said, trying to keep his voice low but barely able to hide his excitement. They grinned at each other, laughing under their breath. Then their attention shifted to me. Their eyes staring at me wide open, watching, investigating, and invading. I felt their stares, that sexual deprivation stare that men have in Muslim cultures when they see a woman, or should I say, a black walking triangle pass by. Because they're not used to seeing women uncovered, there is this intense stare, as if they believe if they would stare long enough, somehow they would be able to pierce through the black veil like Superman does and see what's underneath. I was used to it, like all women in Yemen are, like all women in the world are. But this was next level shit. I kept my gaze forward, gripping the armrest, barely breathing, waiting for the airplane to land. Hours later, I stood in the Frankfurt airport bathroom, staring at my reflection in the mirror. My hands were shaking, my heart pounded in my chest. I took a deep breath, reached up, and pulled off my hijab. For a moment I hesitated. Years of rules, expectations, and everything I had been told about who I was supposed to be weighed on me like a heavy chain. Then, without a second thought, I grabbed the heavy, luxurious black body cover, the one made out of the finest fabric, embroidered with delicate patterns, a symbol of tradition and expectation, and threw it in the trash. It landed with a soft thud, swallowed by the emptiness of the bin. I didn't look back. No more, I decided. Never again will I wear that thing. I stepped out of the bathroom, my pulse racing. I felt different, so free, so light. But at the same time, I felt naked, terrified of being seen. Then I heard voices yelling from ahead of me as I stood on the airport's moving walkway with my carry-on beside me. "It's you! You took off the burqa!" As the walkway moved me closer to them, I recognized them, the young men from the airplane, pointing at me. Their eyes were wide, staring and even pointing their fingers at me as if they had witnessed a crime. Panic shot through my spine. I looked away and started walking fast. My heart pounded as I waved through the crowd, their voices trailing behind me. "Oh!" covering their mouths. I didn't stop. I just kept walking to the gate, through the jet bridge, as if it were a secret tunnel leading to another world, slipping further from the life I had known, crossing an invisible threshold where there was no turning back. It wasn't just boarding a plane. I was leaving everything behind. I was leaving Yemen, Maha. My father stood tall in his navy suit and gray tie, greeting me at the VIP section for arrival at the Bucharest airport. His assistant standing next to him welcomed me to Romania. We walked to the curb and my father's driver opened the black Mercedes door for me. "Mademoiselle," he said with a soft smile and a gentle nod. Soon after, my father enrolled both Manal and I in an English-speaking university to study business administration. It was the most prestigious university in Bucharest. ASE, Academia de Studia Economicia din București. Even though I was 21 years old now and the oldest one in class because I've missed all those years being locked up and tortured, I was just happy to be in school again and to have an excuse to leave the house. When my father dialed the international code to call long distance back home and spoke to my mother in Yemen, I could hear her screaming, "Don't trust that girl, Maha. Don't leave her out of sight. Don't let her go out or have any friends. She can't be trusted." She said nothing about Manal. Her only focus was always on me, never my sisters, at least not at this intense level. They were allowed to have friends and live a somewhat normal social life, but oh no, not that whore Maha. It was nice having Manal at school with me. Even though she was years younger than me, we were now at the same level in college. The university in Romania looked like something out of an old European postcard. The buildings were old and worn, with stone walls and tall windows, some with broken glasses. On the outside, long cemented columns stretch up the front of the building, giving it a heavy old European look, as if the weight of history was built into the architecture itself. This was Romania, once part of the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the country had become very poor, and people lived in poverty. You could see it everywhere, and it showed in the buildings too. Inside, the classrooms had the old rustic smell. The classrooms were built like old auditoriums, narrow at the bottom and wider as they went higher. Each row rose above the one before it, and you would have to climb a set of stairs to reach the next level. The wooden chairs were nailed to the floor, scratched and worn from years of use. The benches were attached to the long wooden tables, so when one person shifted in their seat, the entire row shook. Everyone around me spoke Romanian. My classmates laughed and whispered in a language I couldn't understand, while I sat there silent. The teachers spoke English, but with such a heavy accent that I had to work so hard just to figure out what they were saying. One professor would point out at the board and say, "The finance is very important for the future, you know." I would nod like I understood, scribbling notes and trying to crack the code. Meanwhile, the math equations on the board looked like another foreign language. During the breaks, everyone rushed outside into the cold. They huddled together, smoking cigarettes with their fingers shaking, wrapped in big fur European coats. Steam came out of their mouths as they talked, their free hand clinging on a hot cup of coffee from the vending machine to keep warm. I stood there, scanning my environment. I was used to being the new kid in a foreign land. It was an English-speaking university after all, and all my classmates spoke English. So I started making friends right away. No cigarette, no coffee, no fur coat, just me. Somehow, I always found a way to connect. "Let's go to McDonald's. It's right down the street," I said after class to 3 of my new Romanian classmates, Monica, Flavia, and Emilia. Manal tagged along with us as we walked down those old cobblestone streets, uneven and shiny from years of footsteps. We were so excited. Manal and I ordered Big Macs with fries and large Cokes. Our friends sat at the table smiling, but they didn't order anything. "Aren't you hungry?" I asked. One of them shook her head. "No, not really." So Manal and I ate, laughing and enjoying ourselves while they just watched us eat. I struggled with the curriculum, though. My entire life experience with school, since leaving the States and entering the 3rd grade in Yemen, felt like trying to force a square into a circle. Here I am now studying business, but I never belonged in that world. I had no business studying business. But the most precious thing that came out of this experience is that I did end up making some of the best friends in my life, especially those three girls, Monica, Flavia, and Amelia. They were open-minded. Even though I came from a very different culture, they took me in with arms wide open, helping me keep up with school, homework, and studying for finals. I couldn't have graduated without their help and support. School was always hard for me, and I never questioned that maybe it wasn't me. Maybe I wasn't dumb or lazy like I was told all my life. Maybe it wasn't me that needed fixing or changing. Maybe this was simply not the right fit for me. Maybe it was not in alignment with my soul's purpose. My father, like most, would always tell me, "Do not waste your time with arts and sports. They don't put food on the table. Only math and science will help you pay the bills. Be practical." Only now, in my 40s, as I write this memoir, have I come to understand that I am a creative soul, born to express myself through art, writing, and body movement. Looking back, I can see how every time I opened a textbook on economics or accounting, my soul was slowly being crushed. Yet even though I hated it, all of that training later came in handy. It gave me the tools I needed to become the entrepreneur that I am today, creating Yogi Maha Method and running my own business as a Yoga Aligned school owner for training and certifying yoga instructors, being an inspirational speaker, and now a writer. We're usually told life is not fair, money is hard to get, and school is supposed to suck. I am here to tell you to stop normalizing suffering. Life is meant to be easy. When you do the inner work and you find out who you are truly, and like Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss, you live an authentic life. You follow the path of least resistance, and things begin to happen for you instead of against you. That's when you are in what some call a flow state. People who know this are the people who experience incredible success in life. I invite you to question the beliefs that you inherited from your parents, that they inherited from their parents, to break that karmic cycle of misery, of hard. Stop wasting your time doing something you don't like, whether it's school, a job, a relationship, or maybe where you live. It's like sex. If it's not working, don't try harder. Life is meant to be beautiful. Life is supposed to be easy, more like making love. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, "Don't die with your music still in you." We all have a purpose, a calling inside of us. Whether it's writing a book, starting a business, singing a song, or simply living the life our heart longs for. I've known what my music is, and it's playing right here, right now, as I sit to write my memoir from this part of the world in this little beach town, Akumal Beach in Mexico. I know that my music is playing when I teach yoga, when I certify aspiring yoga teachers and help them find their own path, ready to lead. I know my music is playing when I lead inspirational speaking engagements and connect with people. I feel complete, on purpose, and fulfilled. And I will never come to the end of my life and say, what if my whole life has been wrong? I might have taken the long, hard road to find my place in the world, but it's never too late to shine your light. Whoever you are, and whatever that music is, however distant it may sound, however strange, whatever weird others may interpret it to be. Don't get to the end of your life and not have played your music yet. Don't die with your music still inside of you. This was an excerpt from my upcoming memoir, Maha Unshackled. P.S. My memoir is complete and has been sitting on my laptop for months, staring at me like, now what? If you know a publisher or can slip it to Oprah or Reese, I'll owe you yoga classes for life. Please subscribe for free to receive the next chapter.